No black hats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen. It's Lukey time. Welcome to the Perfect Parlay Pursuit. I'm your host, Lukey CK. I'm joined by my brother, Alex, the Euro Under King, and my best friend, Danny the Bet Man. Hey,
I was hoping I took both of those titles, but, that's a little heartbreaking to me. But, go on.
Dan's one of my best friends.
I thought I had it.
No, I would say Dan's my best friend. Dan's my best friend. So listen, we're coming off the heels of UFC Fight Night, Salt Lake City. Shavkat Rakhmonov, Ian Gary, Alexander Pantoja versus Kaya Sakura. We're going to talk all about it. A lot to discuss.
First, sponsor brought to you by our sponsors here. Pegasus Smelling Salts, Kratos Strength Equipment here. And, I'll do a little doozy. I'll do a little doozy for the boys. The only reason I got this is because it came in directly, hand delivered.
I brought it to Alex.
Woo!
Do a big blast. That's not enough. Do a big blast.
No, here's the thing. Only one of my nostrils works, so I only really hit both of them twice.
Damn, I'm jealous. That looks so much fun.
And I feel powerful.
So,
Daddy.
We're coming off a UFC Fight Night. Alex and I were at the casino watching the fights. I went up big on the tables. I'm talking roulette. I'm talking blackjack. I won so much money gambling, but I lost even more betting on UFC this weekend. As you can see, I'm down quite a large sum.
So let's talk about the only winner this weekend, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Alex is at break even. We're gonna get better.
I didn't win. I won money this weekend in UFC.
We'll talk.
I won money at the casino.
I was with Alex.
You won money your childish little games.
I was with Alex this weekend. I know how his night went. I know how my night went. How did your night go? What was your viewing experience like? You didn't come to the casino. I mean, you and by the way, folks.
And then complained about an invite. And then complained about not getting an invite.
It was a joke.
Dan was like, "Oh, I need to save money, this weekend." And I go, "Okay, well, I got us a table to watch the fights, and you can watch it for free at the casino with me. They serve drinks for free on the casino floor. It's $80 to buy the pay-per-view at your house by yourself. So come to the casino, watch the fight for free." Dan didn't see the logic in that. So
listen, I dropped some business terms that might have been over Luke's head. I talked about the opportunity cost. Okay, I talked about there's factors here. I got to go across state lines. I got to.
And how much opportunity? You didn't have to go across state lines whatsoever.
Brought me off.
What are you talking about?
No, you didn't.
I don't live in New Jersey.
It was in Pennsylvania.
We were at the Philly Live Casino.
What? I thought you were in AC.
Dude, no. We were at Philly Live.
Moronic.
Oh, shit.
Moronic.
We were a 20-minute. That's why this didn't make sense to me. I'm like, dude,
you could have parked your car at my house, slept here. We had.
Damn, I would have gone.
You could have parked your car. Dan, you could have parked your car at my house, slept here, had Ubers both directions, no cost on your end, and
you
enjoyed.
Were so opaque about what you guys were doing. You're like,
you never asked.
That I can't say
on the show that we didn't want our raving fans coming up to us and trying to blow us in the middle of our beautiful night with our baby brother. We didn't want to be distracted by our raving fans.
Seems like you didn't spend any time with the guy that the night was focused on. You gave me like 2 hours of information about what
he won $1,500. He had a great night.
Your little brother making notes.
He won $1,500. He had a great night.
Dang. All right. Good for him.
He won $950 on a slot pull.
Holy shit. Yeah. That's insane.
I should have did that.
You know what he told me? He said, I kept that ticket in my pocket and just played whatever chips I had left and managed to bring that up to 600. And then I ended up saying, let's hit the road, Jack.
He's a responsible young man, wise beyond his years. Very wise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He almost bet the farm that night, though. He did almost bet the farm at one point. Listen, Dan, a lot of points throughout the night, people were saying, Bobby, can I get a chip? Bobby, can I get a chip? One of my cousins who hates me says, you're my favorite cousin. He's giving me a noogie. He's like, you're my favorite cousin. Can I get $100, buddy? And I said, of course, my brother. Gave it to him. His brother actually convinced him to give it back to me because he knew what getting into debt with me is like.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought. You're making a deal with the devil, right? but then what Alex is trying to get to is that none of our family, none of our flesh and blood would loan Alex a chip when he needed one. Our buddy Rich did loan Alex a chip, and that was a big deal. I tried to explain to Alex, it's not about blood; it's about the personality type of the person. Rich is a risk taker, a risk seeker. He's a NGAF type of guy, not give a fuck type of guy. So. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. The folks don't care about this. Let's talk
about that 1-600 with that. You know what I did, boys? I hit the number on the roulette. First, I got a blackjack on $100 hand, won 150 or 125 right there. Gave my buddy that $100 chip right back and flipped off everybody around me that told me no and said, hey, you could have gotten that back. Thanks for trying to make me do a $10 surcharge for using an ATM at the casino. Then chased my cousin around to a roulette table. I'm a sucker. Here. I played one roll of roulette all night. I don't trust roulette, but if I'm standing there waiting for him to do his thing, I'm gonna do it. He had $100 on a color. You know how much I put? $25. 10 on 4, 10 on 7, 5 in between. Landed on red 7, baby. That's a payday if I've ever seen one.
So we had a good time gambling. Not such a good time watching the fights. I'll say this. Our boy Eric Anders did stomp a mud hole in Chris Weidman's ass. That
was about the only shining light in the entire evening.
Well, our boy Dominic Reyes stomped the mud hole in Anthony Smith's ass. So that was pretty good, too. But we didn't really get to watch that one as much. We were at the casino by that point. We saw Eric Anders on the way in the Uber watching on our phones. Get to the casino. Personally, I'm watching the Brian Battle-Randy Brown fight, and I'm watching Brian Battle, who I didn't know missed weight at the time, completely wall install Randy Brown to a decision victory. Fuck Brian Battle, pussy. Then I watch Aljamain Sterling.
You didn't watch the fight.
No, I did.
No, Luke. I'm telling Luke. Like I wouldn't necessarily say he walled and stalled him. I would say it was a mirror matchup, just like the one Euro under King.
Everybody said he walled and stalled. Then I watch Aljamain Sterling win against Movsar Evloev and then not get the win. Night goes on. I sit down. First fight that we sit down at the restaurant to actually watch the fights fully and digest was, I think, what was it? First fight of the main card.
Nate Landwehr and Doo-Ho Choi?
Yeah, Landwehr and Choi, yeah. Disappointing, just like Cody Durden. Cody Durden and Nate Landwehr, the redneck boys, get their ass beat by some folks, some good old boys from overseas, came into America and whooped their ass.
And there was one redneck boy who held up his end of the bargain, though.
Who's that?
And that was Bryce Mitchell, who absolutely showed the entire world that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and pulling guard is for absolute losers and idiots. And if you ever pull guard, ever, you are an absolute moron. Never concede a dominant position. If you ever wrestled a day in your life, you would know that. Well,
it was funny because Gracie was like, the last fight with Jourdain where he was like butt scooting and everything. He was like, I let the jiu-jitsu community get into my head. They said, you got to represent your name and, do a pure jiu-jitsu type tactics here. I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to make it a real fight. And he did basically the exact same thing where he's trying to, hug him and then, like you said, a pull guard there. So it was a weird card.
And I get the strategy with Charles Jourdain, but you got a guy who's bigger, stronger, fights more than you, way more active, way younger as well, way more experience in MMA. And you're going to start pulling guard against a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Like that, I get it against Charles Jourdain, dumb Canadian kickboxer, whatever. But you're going to do that against, and you say that was a lesson learned for you. Yeah, right. now you look like what was it? Jordan Levitz. Who did he knock out? Not Tim
Matt
Means.
Wyman.
Matt Wyman, another methodical creature in the MMA space. Matt Wyman, Tim Means.
I mean, he did that perfect little frame and slam.
Yeah.
Dapped him up afterwards. I mean, Crogan Gracie looked like an idiot in there.
It probably should have been stopped before that.
Would oblige him in the grappling. Like, yeah, he'll probably try to take you down at some point. So.
Right, it's like you stood and did striking with Cub Swanson. You're afraid to strike with Bryce Mitchell, who left fucking
Charles
out.
yeah.
No, I'm talking about Bryce Mitchell. I'm saying you're afraid. You're pulling guard against Bryce Mitchell. Stand and strike with him. You're training with Nate Diaz and the Diaz brothers, who love to stand and strike, even though they have great grappling. And yet you're afraid to strike with Bryce Mitchell. You're pulling guard against Bryce Mitchell, a guy who has one of like 3 twister submissions in the UFC, who's competent and good at jiu-jitsu and would prefer to be there. You're going to pull guard against him instead of striking with him when he just got knocked the fuck out twice in his last 3 fights. It's like, come on, man. Like, Crogan Gracie, very disappointing. I thought of all the outstretched underdogs, he was the one who had the most skill and the most pedigree to actually come in there and get an upset. But no, they all went down. From Breshke to Guida to fucking, Crogan Gracie. So Crogan Gracie stinks. He should be cut from the UFC. You dishonor your family.
Demba Garimbo needs to find a new house. I heard The Rock is pulling it from under him.
That one, but I heard he got knocked the fuck out.
No, he got choked out in like 30 seconds or some shit.
Choked out?
Well, he knocked him out and then made him tap.
Amazing. And it's like,
how are you knocked out and tap? That doesn't make fucking sense.
He wasn't
club and sub.
Dazed, and then he just jumped on an anaconda.
And Dan, how lucky does somebody have to be to like not only be born in where's he from? Zimbabwe?
I don't know.
He's from, one of those very, very poor countries. You get the opportunity to come to America, right? You get the opportunity to train at a great gym and be in the UFC. You then get given a house. It's like, I hate this shit that we do where we're like, oh, I want to support this guy. It's like, wait. He's already escaped a hellhole of a country, made it to America. Now he's in the best league. He's not fighting in fucking Mississippi bum fights. He's fighting in the UFC, the best organization you can be in. And he still needs a fucking handout house from The Rock. So I'm very glad to see him lose.
And then he has the gall to be like, I should be fighting for a title. I should be fighting main event slots. Like, what? What are you talking about? You beat nobody. You are nobody at this point in time.
And unimpressively beat nobody. Unimpressively beat nobody as well. I thought Doho Choi looked amazing out there. Doho Choi was one of my favorite up-and-coming fighters when he first broke onto the scene. Then he had that military time. I think he was out for like a year or 2 years or so. And then he came back flat. And I mean, a second win to this guy, Doho Choi, who I loved, by the way. Nate Landwehr, call him a hillbilly all you want, but he was asked in the post or in the pre-fight press conference, he was like, do you think the Japanese fans will feel some type of way about you knocking out Doho Choi before, their guy comes out? Do you think it'll make him feel a little scared? He's like, well, I know those guys are both Asian, but, Korea and Japan are 2 completely separate different countries. I don't necessarily think they'll feel that way.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nate Landwehr with the, awareness of
the reporter that thought he was from Japan.
There was a reporter who just associated them, I guess. A racist reporter was on the scene.
Anyway, yeah, pretty crazy. So here's the thing. Volkov versus
just as crazy as Triller giving us a chance,
Gon put out a great performance. He got injured. Okay, he busted up his foot. He gutted it out. Had the more powerful shots, dominating positionally. All right,
Danny Segura.
Thank you to the judges.
You and Danny Segura and Natalie Bird, the only 3 people
who threw all the bullshit that Volkov was putting out there and put out the correct decision. Thank you to the judges. You got this one right.
Yeah, they didn't.
Why don't Chris Weidman and this guy Michael Chiesa get the Tony Ferguson treatment? Why do they just get to fight guys their age, guys that never necessarily like. No offense, Eric Andres. He is my hero for fucking up Chris Weidman. The only way he could have done it better is to do it in front of his whole entire family and friends at MSG. That would have been like a lot more. I don't know. I probably would have nutted in my pants. Like, to be honest, if he did that in front of. Don't make that face. Come on.
Caralho.
If he could have done that in MSG where, Chris Weidman has like 80 people he knows in the stands that like could have watched that and soaked that all in. That's the only way it would have made it better. But why don't these guys get the same treatment as Tony Ferguson? Give Michael Chiesa. I think Drew Dober knocks Michael Chiesa out and he's at weight class underneath. Why is he not getting absolute
Carlos Practice?
Exactly. Themba Gorimbo. Somebody at that weight class that will absolutely demolish you. Like
Gorimbo would not demolish Michael.
Maybe Themba loses, but I'm just saying, don't give him another 40-fucking-year-old. Give him a young surging stud and actually make him prove himself instead of, padding this guy's record so he can come onto the broadcast and say, yeah, I ended my career 18-3. The only guys I lost to were Kevin Lee, and he fought for a title, and this guy who fought for a title, but everybody else, I took him out, and now I'm 18-4 instead of 13-5. Like, get the fuck out of here, Michael Chiesa. You suck. I don't want to see you fight. These fights with Max Payne Griffin, these fights with Tony Ferguson, don't respect them. Don't respect you. You're a loser. Go back to that little tiny city inside of Seattle that they created. That's just where you belong with that weird hick beard, you little fucking loser. Sorry.
Chaz.
Chaz.
I want Michael Chiesa to live in the Capitol Hill occupied zone. Autonomous zone. Okay, so anyway, here's the deal. Volkov won that fight.
Same with Weidman, though. Same goes for Weidman. They tried to set him up for a win, and Lucas said it on this show numerous times. He was going to tell Anders that when he came on, that they're trying to set Anders up for a win. You better fucking have the steam coming out of your ears and knock this motherfucker out. And that's exactly what he did. He beat the shit out of Weidman.
Eric Anders stomped the mud hole in Chris Weidman's ass. I only wish he put him out cold and hit him 5 times after he was out cold. But anyway,
one more thing before you go on. Anthony Smith, give those teeth back to Glover Teixeira. Get off of every broadcast. Chris Weidman, you're not allowed on another weigh-in show. You both suck. Get the fuck out of here. Good riddance.
Yeah. No, Anthony Smith is such a fucking quitter, loser, pussy, crying all the time. And
hit me again. I want to feel something.
Dude, what are you, Evanescence? what are you, fucking Mustang? Like, yo, what? Anthony Smith sounded like a fucking 16-year-old fucking emo bitch in that fucking octagon. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. It's like, shut the fuck up. You have kids, Anthony Smith, you son of a bitch. You
can't even defend them. I mean,
it's really pathetic. If I were your wife, I would leave you. If I were your kids, I would spit in your face and shit in your stocking this Christmas. You deserve
the
nothing.
crackhead 10-8'd him in the first round.
The only reason Anthony Smith has gotten this far is because he's somewhat fucking friends with Chael Sonnen, and Chael Sonnen.
No, the only reason he got this far is because he got kneed in the head on the ground, and the UFC is doing some payback. They were like, "Thank you for not pulling the Matt Hamill."
I'm telling you, it's all Chael Sonnen. If you met Chael Sonnen in line at Starbucks, he would get you a fucking deal with fucking Manscaped. I mean, Chael Sonnen is just one of those Pacific Northwest nice guys who, if you meet him one time and develop some sort of handshake wink bond with him, he will defend you forever. And he consistently lays cover for Anthony Smith. He literally on his own podcast has said Anthony Smith is a good-looking guy. He has said that. He goes, and Anthony Smith's well-spoken, good-looking guy.
That's why TJ Dillashaw is the only guy you can trust. TJ Dillashaw is the only guy you can trust. How can you be a Lionheart? How could you be a Lionheart? And have your teeth knocked out like that and not fight back and just sit there and take it and say, "Oh, yeah, just
They call it
bandwagon."
the Anthony Smith position when you curl up into a fetal position and sit down on your butt. And that's the only reason he got kneed by John Jones. His whole claim to fame is because he puts himself in those positions where he's fucking sitting on his butt in the corner like a fucking cuck, getting beat the shit out of all the time in every single one of these fights.
Which brings us into something I did want to say. Ian Gary, his reaction to losing that fight in the fashion he did is absurd and damages everything. That is cuck-atude in the finest fashion, where he's like, "Oh yeah, I fought the boogeyman of this division, and you know what? At the end of the day, I'm the only guy he couldn't get out of there."
Alcohol's pretty good.
But like the we'll call him Participation Trophy Gary from here on out. Machado Participation Trophy Machado Gary, because of his personal life and his professional life. Because now his personal life has seceded into his professional life, where, you know, guys, you know this. I was the biggest Ian Gary supporter when Luke and Layla got in a fight on Instagram. Nobody supported Ian Gary more than I did. But now you're going to sit here and say, "I did really good that night, even though I was prepared for a fight the next weekend, and it necessarily wasn't short notice." Get the fuck out of here. You suck. The best position you had of the night was grappling, which, you know, according to everybody, you got submitted by, you know, Rachmaninoff. Is that his name?
Yeah.
You got submitted by, huh?
You're right.
You got submitted by Rachmaninoff in training, right? And now you're taking.
I came back and I had him almost dead to rights. Yeah, exactly.
And you're saying that, you know, just because you took his back one time in the fight, you were the closest to finishing. You should have, you represented yourself well. No, you didn't. You think that you should be a champion. What will Bilal Muhammad do to you? I still think it's a tough fight for Bilal. Ian Machado Gary is a huge guy, huge man. Weight bully. Yeah.
Listen, you're right, 100%. Ian Gary stinks. He disgraced his whole. He disgraced himself, and he. You know what you call a good. You know what you call a
good loser. It's a loser.
Loser, yeah, good, yeah. It's like, okay, he's like, you're if you're happy with that performance, you're a great loser. Hey, you're a great loser. You know, you found a way to lose, and in your mind, still win. I'm sure that'll promote a lot of growth. Anthony Smith, I'm not done with you yet. I didn't even watch the fight. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't even watch the fight. I heard about what happened. I heard he was crying. I heard he said, "Hit me. I want to feel something." First of all, I hate to say this. If I don't want to say it. If a man
that's saying something.
Say it.
I just think, like,
maybe don't say it.
Say it.
Do it.
Like, I can't say it. I can't say it. Yeah, I can't say it. But I think you guys know where I'm going with this. Like, if you cry, you're something. If you say those things that Anthony Smith said and did in the fight, you're something.
And when you look into it, and I got news for you. That means you're gay.
No.
Just enough, Anthony Smith. I hope your wife leaves you. I hope your children leave you.
No.
I hope. No. I hope. I'm saying I hope.
That doesn't make it any better.
I'm saying, like, Anthony Smith, Paul Felder, right? They both same boat.
You have to say "in my wildest dreams." That's how we get out of those things.
I hope that Anthony Smith's wife takes inventory and says he's leaving Nebraska to go somewhere to train, and he still loses. He must not be training that much. What is he really doing when he's away from the family? Probably cheating on me. I hope that she looks into it. I hope she discovers that he is cheating on her, and I hope that as a result of that, she leaves him.
At least when you go to the casino.
Is that fair to say? Is that fair to say?
At least when you go to the casino, your wife knows you're gone for one night, and the lack of money you have is proof that you gambled.
Yep.
You know, the fact that you lost money. If you came back with the same amount of money you left with, she'd be like, "What in the hell is going on?" But
imagine you say to your wife, like, I have to go away from the family for training camp to get ready for this fight, and then you show up looking like Anthony Smith has looked. Your wife would be wondering, what were you doing the whole time? And how much do you think of us that you go away, you spend all this time away from us, and you still suck this bad?
And Dominic Reyes trains at sea level. Why do you have to go all the way over to Colorado to get your training in? Because Dominic Reyes seems to be doing fine.
Didn't your coach die? Why do you still need to go there? I'm just wondering, why do you still need to go there? Isn't he dead?
What is that?
No, I'm saying, like, he's still going. It's like, wait, she's like, wait, can you just train here now? Your coach is dead. What are you doing? Where are you going?
Wait, I don't think his coach died.
That was the whole thing. His coach
That was the
died.
whole thing.
Mark Montoya?
No.
Different.
The other
Oh.
coach.
I was going to be
You
devastated.
need several coaches. You need several coaches to teach you how to do this.
Did you hear Joaquin Buckley on DJ's pod? He was like, you know, my first 2 UFC fights, the first one, none of my coaches had passports, so I couldn't get them over there in time.
Yeah.
And then the second one, all of my coaches got COVID, so I think it was the dude who went to the Ultimate Fighter who wasn't supposed to be on the Ultimate Fighter, Michael something. He had Kai Kamaka in his corner when he fought Long, Kevin Holland. And then his next fight, I think he had the Michael dude who fought in the Ultimate Fighter who got an extra chance because he subbed in short notice for the guy who had a slight ACL tear or whatever.
Michael Gilmore.
Yes. He was like, I had Michael Gilmore in my corner when he hit Impa Casagne with that crazy kick.
So here's the deal, right? It's like,
so why do you need to go to Colorado?
you watch Podcast Cringe, you watch Too Lazy to Try, you watch all of these, you watch Red Bar, you watch all these different things, and you hear them say, if Joe Rogan and these comedians need to spend 6 months to a year crafting these jokes so that they're sharp and that they're perfect to make an audience full of people laugh. Now take that, put that to the side. Anthony Smith, all these fighters, if you need to take 6 weeks away from your family to train and to practice fighting so that you can get ready for 15 minutes of competition, same with the comedians who have to spend all this time writing these jokes, same with the fighters who need to spend all this time preparing for their specific opponent. Maybe you're not cut out for this. Maybe you should do something else with your life. If you take all this time, you train, you prepare to fight, and you suck that bad, maybe find something else. Maybe you're not, the ultimate fighter. Maybe you're just your average bloke.
Well, I think he's on his way to doing that. I mean, he pretty much retired. I mean, he took off the gloves, he was doing the thing, and all but said that he was retiring. So I think he's come to that conclusion as well.
Like, how many times have I made you laugh in these 5 fucking minutes?
What?
That we've been talking.
How many times have I laughed? I don't know. I got a little dark for me. It got a little dark. I don't wish any ill will on Anthony Smith. I'm sure people
You were laughing.
To me, I didn't want
know.
Anthony Smith coming after me, but I'll say this. Here's my critique. Okay, so your friend, coach, just died. In order to honor him, I don't think he would want you to go there with your hands down getting punched in the face. He would want you punching the other guy in the face, putting on a good performance. So this was not a way of honoring your fallen friend / coach. Like, go in there and get the win. Don't selfishly take on pain or like whatever you were doing. Like, that's not good for your coach's legacy.
He's a crybaby.
Memory.
He's a crybaby. And
Well, I got a transport. I'll see you guys in 1 minute.
And the only reason that Anthony Smith even has even had the career that he has had is because he's been giving serve up fights like Rashad Evans, like Shogun Hua, like all these old ass people at the end of their career, a weight class below. Like, it's like he has not even ever had a fight against anybody good where he's been tested that he hasn't absolutely failed the fucking test, right? I wish they did give him Pereira. I really do wish that they gave him Pereira, and Pereira just send him into the shadow realm, and he woke up looking for
but Luke, what about all the holes in Pierre's game? Where did he expose those holes with Dominic Reyes?
I hope they give him Pereira next. I hope they let him Pereira, and Alex Pereira hits him so fucking hard that he can't do commentary anymore or analyst gate work. I don't want to see Anthony Smith ever again for the rest of my fucking life.
And I agree. And if I ever see him in that tattoo shop again, talking to guys about their tattoos, their sins to society, I don't want to see that.
I don't think I'm the only one. Anthony Smith, Paul Felder, Michael Chiesa, put him on a fucking boat.
I throw out Joe Bann in that boat too.
And poke a hole in it. Send him out to sea and poke a fucking hole in it. Give those three to the cast of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Let them do a whole season worth of fucking shows. Put him on Welcome to Rexby.
I have a better show for him, Luke. I have a better show for him.
Put him on Fish Tank. Put him where, like, get those three out of my fucking life. I fucking hate Paul Felder, Michael Chiesa, and Anthony Smith with a burning passion. They are the three most mediocre pieces of shit that have ever had a job with the UFC. They play the system. They game the system. They are horrid, evil, sickening monsters. They disgust me with their appearance. They disgust me with their words, and they disgust me with the way that they fight. They disgust me with the way that they fight too. I hate them all. I'm not doing myself any favors by saying this, but everybody's thinking it.
Remember when Anthony Smith got so cocky with us that one time? Remember, he got so cocky. Just don't bet on me when I win. Look up the record.
No problem, man.
Look up the record, Luke. Vitor Petrino's the only one.
We talked so much on Anthony Smith. He literally DM'd us. He was all buddy. He was all friendly. But it's like, what has he done since then? He's just been a terrible person.
Terrible person. And I'll go as far as to say this, Luke. What? Worse person than fighter. Much like O.J. Simpson, way better football player than he was a person. But, you fall into the same boat. At this point, you're a better fighter than you are a person, and your fighting skills are not very good.
Chris Weidman, Anthony Smith, stop training together. You both suck. Go home to your kids. Give your wife back the fucking years she put in so you could pursue your little dream. And
why don't you go to your son's baseball games or something like that?
Why don't you focus on your kids? That's what I want to know. Why don't you focus on your kids? I want to know why Chris Weidman and Anthony Smith need all this attention. I got to think they hate their wives. I got to think that their wives really, based on what I see, why are they trying to get away from their wives so much? That's what I want to know. Why?
And, you already covered it, but Volkov absolutely robbed. Aljo absolutely robbed. I'm done with this sport. I'm not gambling on it anymore. At least when I know football is happening. The worst that can happen are the guys in the stripes call one of my plays back. But at the end of the day, usually they have probable cause. They don't go into the trunk. They don't go into the trunk searching unless they got probable cause for some of these penalties in an NFL game, which at least at the end of the game, somebody doesn't say, Joe Burrow threw for 340 yards. Jamar Chase got 2 touchdowns. We should just score this for the Bengals, because if you really look at it, like, the touchdowns that the Cowboys got were a little bit worse or yada, yada, yada. No, they play the games to the finish, and whoever wins, wins. And that's bullshit. I think they maybe – I don't know what to do with this sport anymore because the commission ain't doing shit. Aljo won. Volkov won. They got absolutely robbed, and I don't know what to think of this anymore because –
I just solved it. In the UFC – if you get a finish by knockout or submission, you win. You move up the rankings. If no finish happens, you both remain at a neutral standpoint, and the fight is what's called a no finish. Not a no contest, a no finish. It goes into a separate pool, and it's all the guys who have no finishes have to compete against one another until one of them gets a finish.
No,
So
make them fight 11. Make them fight 11 rounds like they used to Jack Dempsey, or 28 rounds like they did Jack Dempsey back in the day.
I think that you have instead of a decision win or a decision loss, you have no. It's either win, lose, draw, no contest, or no finish.
Infinite time limit, no rounds.
You go into a separate bracket. You have to work your way out of the no finish bracket by getting a finish. If you get no finishes, you stay in the no finish bracket. That's it. That's the way to solve this problem. That is the way. And then that way we don't need to fucking worry about it from a gambling perspective, from a show money versus win money. It's like you get this much to show, you get this much for a finish. That's it.
I'd be remiss because I really don't have too much to
think about what I just said because it's the answer.
It might be. It might be.
It is. So anyway, listen.
But one thing before we get off of this recap, like I'd be remiss because I really don't have too much to talk about on this upcoming card.
We have to break down.
Huh?
On the 13 fights that we have to break down. We have to break
down.
I
don't have too much to talk about. I'm probably just gonna give this is my guy, buy this, and this is why, and one sentence. There's not too much captivating content there, Luke. So I'm going to go. I'm going to tell you about Pantoja, who absolutely sensational stud, really, really good. If you look at the guys he's beaten, I heard it on the Good Guy, Bad Guy. He's beaten 10 top 10 opponents in recent memory, and that's fucking crazy.
But
and I know
flyweight, you're in the top 10 for flyweight.
No. I would say no.
Alex isn't, but I am.
That's true.
Oh yeah, because I'm a big boy. Because I'm a thick boy, daddy. Don't you tell me about flyweight division. Come on now.
And Alex might not be in the top 10 of flyweight, but I certainly am in the top 10 of flyweight. So
if I could make the weight, potentially, I would be like Charles Woodson at flyweight.
Any of size.
If you called me a flyweight, I'd look like Charles Woodson. I'd be a fucking head on a stick. So, you got to Pantoja his flowers, man. I mean, he's beaten Moreno 3 times. The only guy in the fucking flyweight division that beat him isn't there anymore, right? It's Figueiredo, I believe. Maybe that one slick submission guy who beat quite a few guys on their way up, but has had a 5-fight skid. I forget his name. But Pantoja's been an absolute stud, and coming up against a young, hungry lion coming into this game where
hungry wolf.
I'm a hungry fucking wolf. Wait till I spill the beans on these motherfuckers, Adelaide Bird.
Dana White and all of the journalists, except for Danny Segura, agree that Volkov won the fight. I agree. Everybody I was with that night agree. So, Dan, it's you and Danny Segura.
Segura.
3 people who think that and whoever the other judge was. Who was it? Jujiro Kamijo. Jujiro Kamijo. fuck them. Corrupt. Honestly, it's crazy. It's embarrassing. I might just shut down the podcast and never watch the UFC again. If they
or rebrand, or it might go a whole new rebrand.
I think I'm just going to convert this into a Brendan Schaub watch along, into a Anthony Smith hate channel, and just watch everything Anthony Smith does and dissect it and break it down and tell everybody what there is not to like about this guy.
Leave that man alone. He's got enough demons going on. Jeez.
He's just got to give those teeth.
If he didn't have kids, I wouldn't give a fuck. But the fact that this crybaby is out here talking like an emo chick from 2001, talking like he's Evanescence, talking like he's My Chemical Romance, the fact that this guy is out here crying like a little bitch baby when you have kids at home and a wife at home and you're going off to fucking wherever, you need to stay your ass home in fucking Nebraska. And you need to take care of those kids. He's like Jason Kelsey, that fat fucking Neanderthal. I hate Jason Kelsey. Go home to your fucking kids. Get off the commercials. Enough with the fucking old smoky. dude, I swear, dude, there's 3. Oh,
You know, his wife just started a podcast.
Yes.
oh, but
yes,
she doesn't.
I do know.
She doesn't want
No,
the
Luke,
spotlight.
Luke,
She hates the spotlight. She hates the spotlight.
Luke, we are talking Talk Tua for Jason Kelsey's wife's podcast. I think that is our rebrand.
Let's fucking go.
I think that's our rebrand.
Fucking break down every episode of her podcast, and because she hates the spotlight, guys. She hates the spotlight. I hate the Kelsey family. It's pretty bad when Travis Kelsey is the one I don't mind, right? Everybody hates Travis Kelsey. No, I hate Jason Kelsey. I'm a fucking Philadelphia Eagles fan, but I'm just not a fucking simp, coward, little tag-along fucking bitch like everybody else in Philadelphia is, where I see through the fake monster that is Jason Kelsey. I hate him. When he took that kid's phone and slammed it down, that's
You know why he did that, Luke? Because he said a slur on camera.
What the fuck? So did Jason Kelsey.
No. Jason Kelsey said it back to him.
Yeah, right. He did it after. He did it while he smashed the phone. Then he said it after.
Yes.
So
well,
you're saying he destroyed the phone to destroy the evidence of him saying that slur, but he did it after he destroyed the phone.
Or he said it and destroyed the phone, and somebody else just caught it on the camera while he said it.
Bottom line.
That's what I thought happened from the footage I saw.
A fucking Illuminati puppet. He definitely has some demons. He's anyway.
I honestly don't even know who those people are.
Disclaimer: I'm not a real person. I don't even exist.
Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine.
This is a joke show. We're just doing parody law. We love everybody, and I hate Jason Kelsey. But here's the thing. I need to actually collect myself after figuring out that Travis Kelsey's sister-in-law is a podcast.
Travis Kelsey's sister-in-law. That's how you refer to her now. I love that. I love that. Travis Kelsey's sister-in-law.
Oh my god, dude. I really fucking hate Jason Kelsey. But you know who I hate even more? Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, really?
Oh, I hate him, dude. I hate Ryan Fitzpatrick. I hate the Tom Segura lookalike. Pretty much anybody who's an analyst for the NFL, I fucking hate. Except
Andrew Whitworth is the guy who
Andrew
you said.
Whitworth. Andrew Whitworth.
That's the Tom Segura guy.
I hate him. I hate Ryan Fitzpatrick. I hate Jason Kelsey. Don't mind Richard Sherman.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. If you would have crucified Richard Sherman right now, I'd be upset.
Any analyst. I really hate any analysts, like, for any of these sports. I'll say, like, Dominic Cruz, I'm completely cool with. I love you, Dominic Cruz.
Yes.
DC,
amazing.
DC and Dom, you're the best. Chael, the best, except for your allegiance to, it's like, remember
Anik Joe gotta go.
When Cat Williams told Shannon Sharp, he goes, "It's unlike you to have such an unnatural allegiance to losers," or whatever he said to Shannon Sharp, right?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it's just a bunch of 6 unfunny motherfuckers who are friends with the same guy.
That's how I feel about Chael Sonnen when he's friends with Ariel. He's friends with Anthony Smith. I want to be like, it's unlike you to have such an unnatural allegiance to losers.
I love the balls on my mouth.
Please tell me you inserted our new drop.
I love the balls on my mouth.
I feel like a national no Larry Bozy bear.
That's the answer. No.
All right, listen, we got to move on. Let's break down Covington versus Buckley. Guys, we missed an opportunity because if Gary was still in this card, if Ian Gary was still the opponent for Joaquin Buckley, we would forever call this Buck versus the Cuck. But we can't do that now. We have to call it Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley. We're going to get started with the first fight of the night. We got...
Dude, you got to watch Joaquin Buckley on DJ's podcast because he said... Yeah, I mean, Colby Covington cucked out to a cuck. Like, I don't know what else you want me to say. I mean, Ian Gary was calling for that fight.
I saw that situation differently because at the end of the day, Colby said, "Hey, Ian Gary, show me something. Let's market this fight. Give me a little back and forth." And Ian Gary's marketing on the fight was weak. It was terrible. It was like so lame and cringe and not even attention grabbing. And then he didn't show up to the press conference where they had the opportunity to be on the same stage because he got the fucking flu or whatever he claims he got, where he wouldn't fight Vicente Luque because he was facing all the heat and all the pressure of everybody calling him a little bitch. I mean, he is a vegan under his wife's ex-husband's diet plan. I mean, like, even my own wife was like, holy shit, if
and she's a nature freak.
His wife's ex-husband put him on it, but she ain't about that vegan shit. She's like, if if his wife's ex-husband's putting him on a vegan diet, that's because he's trying to lower his testosterone and trying to get him like in a lesser state so he can take advantage of him. It's like, in Lord of the Rings where that one king was being poisoned by the guy. But in this case, it's like, I don't know. Either way.
There's no chair in my bedroom. There's no chair.
And look, if that's what you're into,
that's what
I had a
Joaquin
deep
said.
conversation with Steven Seagal last time I was in Dubai.
That's what Joaquin said as well. He said, I have nothing to say about Ian Gary and his personal life. What he does in the bedroom is his own business. But I will say him and whoever, and they started talking.
I didn't hear this. I don't even know if it's true.
It was great.
Here's what I gotta say. Here's the bottom line.
Turn this off right now. Watch Joaquin Buckley on DJ's podcast, and then never listen to this again.
Well, if DJ wants to have people talking about being a cuck, he has an opportunity to walk back into a title shot against Pantoja, but he's going to sit there and watch that man wear his belt. So that's one thing or another. But either way,
I think
I don't
that's
really care.
so not
Really
similar.
Nobody cares about 125. Nobody cares about flyweight. Nobody cares about it. Definitely nobody cares about 115, which is why we're actually going to outsource women's fight picks. We're going to start a companion show. You've heard of the Triple P, Perfect Parlay Pursuit. We're going to start a companion show called Bitches Be Bettin'. Stay tuned for that. We're outsourcing. We're going to have 3 ladies come on, just like you have the 3 Triple P boys. You're going to have the 3 Triple B girls who consent to being
the bitches that be betting.
They're going to be bitches that be betting, and they are going to consent to doing all of the lady picks for us from here on out on the show. And that's just that. So we got 8-0 Josephine Knudsen versus Venezuela's 32-year-old Piera Rodriguez. Piera lost to Cardillosi. She lost to Jillian Robertson. She beat Sam Hughes. Very impressive. She beat Kay Hansen. Very impressive. I'm going with Piera Rodriguez for no other reason than she has 2 losses, whereas Knudsen has no losses. No woman is undefeated or good at fighting, and that just means that Knudsen is due for a loss or 2. So give me Piera La Fiera Rodriguez. We're not going to waste too much time on this. I want your guys' picks in a paragraph or less.
Luke, I'm going to give you way more reinforcement on your bet. I'm taking Knudsen by cuteness, okay? So that should reinforce your pick more than ever. Knudsen all the way. Dan, what do you think, my boy?
I got to double up on the nuts in here. We're going with what's her first name? Pierre is the last name of the opponent. What's the first name of Knudsen?
Dan, you are a notorious simp, though. So Luke, this should reinforce you more.
I think Piera is the cuter one, so I'm going against my sorry, it just hurts.
Preference in ladies.
Yeah. No, not even that. But yeah, I'm going with Knudsen. Better striker, better all around, whatever. Take the favorite.
Ramon
Where
Tavares.
you're going against the regular thought that you always bet on the uglier girl.
No, I go
Because you said Vieira's cuter. Or Rodriguez. Vieira Rodriguez. Sorry, Luke, go on. We can't waste any more time on this fight.
Yeah, you got to stop. If you have banter, make it good, Alex, because that was not good. That was whatever it was. That was not good. All right. You better bring that banter. All right.
Let me go first on this.
Excuse my language there, but
Can I please? No banter, strictly picks.
Go first.
Strictly picks. Grant versus Ramon Tavares. I'm going to go with Tavares by decision. I think Davy Grant is a little too tough to get finished by Tavares in this one, but he cuts super easy. So even if Davy Grant looks like he's winning this fight, he oftentimes loses because of the red mask. And although the other guy isn't landing the cleaner strikes as Davy Grant, Ramon Tavares will be able to slice him up because he has all that build-up scar tissue in the eyebrows. And regardless of Davy Grant's last few fights, like I thought he won in some of those split decisions he lost. But Ramon Tavares will be able to pull this out via the red mask decision, as Dan loves to bet.
Yeah, I love
Tavares. Hold on, Dan. It's Ramon Tavares.
Oh, well, I let into him, so actually let him go first.
Sorry, go ahead.
I do like that pick. I like your logic behind it. I like Tavares. Grant, 38 years old. Can't go with that guy. I mean, I don't always like going with the UFC setup theory, but I think it does apply here. You got Ramon Tavares, the young upstart, only has a couple fights in the UFC. I think he's got better boxing. Latin American guy fighting in Florida against a guy clearly on the way out based on his age. Again, 38 years old. I think this is the setup spot. This is the UFC PR push play of the week. We're going to go with Ramon Tavares.
Yeah, not only is he 38 years old, but he's coming off a neck surgery. He's a bar owner, one of the most stressful careers you could possibly have. Davey Grant, I love him to death. Think he's an amazing fighter, a fun fighter, and he wins when he's not supposed to. But here, the line is much too close for me to bet on Davey Grant. Plus 120 Grant, minus 145 Tavares. Tavares all day and all night. I do think Davey Grant is a phenomenal fighter, but you got to expect a worse and worse Davey Grant every time that you see him in there. He's 2 days shy of 39 when this fight happens. 9 years older at the 135-pound weight class against a guy who's big for the weight class, who missed weight last time he weighed in. So Tavares, I think, will win the fight. I don't like that Davey Grant's coming off an neck surgery. I don't like that he's 9 years older than his opponent. I don't like that he's coming off a loss that took place a year and 4 months ago. You got to think you're not going to see the same Davey Grant that even fought in that split decision loss to undefeated Daniel Marcos a year and 4 months ago. While he did perform well there, so did Ramon Tavares. I did think Serhii Saidi beat him in the split decision he had 10 months ago, but young man, hungry dog, knocked out Cornelius Ramtovius. I'm taking my man, motherfucking Ramon Tavares to get the win. All right, next up, we got Miranda Maverick versus Jamie Lynn Horth. Jamie Lynn Horth, Canada's own, didn't impress at all in her last fight. Miranda Maverick, always impressive, always doing well, always making waves. Miranda Maverick hasn't lost since a decision to Jazzy J, another Canadian. But Jamie Lynn Horth, took Ivana Petrovic to split decision a month and 5 days ago. That'll stand out in all of your minds. It was pretty not that good of a fight. She's 7 years older, 125-pound weight class. She's going to be taller, but not thicker. She's going to have not much of a reach advantage, despite being a little taller. I think Miranda Maverick closes the distance, gets low, penetrates, takes her to the ground, 3 rounds, and wins the decision. Miranda Maverick by decision.
Yeah, sorry for the wait, boys. Shout out to Lil Wayne. I've been drinking a little bit. I got to take a few pisses every now and then.
I've been drinking too.
Not as much and not as fast. So I'm going to go with Miranda Maverick by sub. I think she gets us inside at the distance. If she doesn't, still, bet on her to win. We sprinkle on the outcomes around here. So I'm going to take Maverick by sub, Tavares by decision, and Knutson by cuteness. I don't know if they're giving any lines out on that one, but we saw it happen last weekend with Cyril Gahn. So
Jamie Lynn Spears wins her fights by being tougher and stronger than her opponents, but she's very slow and unathletic. Miranda Maverick is also very tough and very strong and way more fast and way more athletic. So I think this one is pretty easy to call. The line is ridiculous for a lady fight at minus 450, but the pick is Miranda Maverick.
All right. Next, we got Felipe Lima, Jungle Boy, versus Miles Chapo Johns. Miles Johns, Officer Johns. He is coming off of 4 fights.
Was he a cop?
I don't think so.
Or are you getting him confused with Trevin Giles?
No. I know Trevin Giles is a cop, but I think Miles Johns.
Giles and Miles. We wouldn't blame you if you got him mixed up.
Anything else?
I swear to you. That's not the case. Okay, so listen. I'm going with Felipe Lima here. Miles Johns, good. This kid, better. That's all I got to say.
Guys, look at how much money Luke is down. You can see why he's chasing dogs. I'm going to go with Miles Johns on this one. By decision. Huh?
How do you know he's a dog?
Because I do my research beforehand, as you can see by all these notes here. I do my research before the pod, and he might not end as a dog. And when I looked at this line, he might not be a favorite anymore. But Luke's dog chasing, he's down 1680. Dan's down over 1,000. I don't know why he's laughing.
Muhammad Hillman, who that I think Muhammad Naimov beats the fuck out of Miles Johns. So if this kid,
well, you sir are a dummy, and that is why you don't make the lines. You bet the lines and you lose the lines a lot of the time. But Miles Johns, he's got more experience, better experience from a better camp. He's going to come out, or not, maybe not a better camp. I don't know if Lima was one of those guys kissing Charles Dubronx on the neck while he was cutting weight and sitting in the sauna box with him. And who knows what the second guy in the sauna box was doing that we didn't see. But besides the point, I'm going with Miles Johns. Miles Johns by decision. I don't think he's going to get Lima out of there. I think Lima's a tough guy, although he's got a bit of a chicken neck. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets finished. But the way I'm leaning is Miles Johns by decision. Like I said, we bet outcomes of or winners. We don't bet outcomes. So these are all sprinkles, the outcomes. But I went through the trouble of giving you all of them for this one.
I think Lima kicks the ever-living shit out of Miles Johns. Miles Johns is a relic of a time way, way, way past its prime here. A wrestler that throws hooks. That's 2005 UFC. Felipe Lima is overall MMA trained, ready to kill, will get the job done. I know he's going to get the job done. He's going to be demolishing Miles Johns. He's had a nice little run here, Mr. Miles, but it's coming to a crashing end in Tampa Bay Saturday night.
Fernando Padilla versus Sean Woodson.
Isn't that who you called for against Chiesa?
Nah, that was fucking smoker guy.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, let me get my beats off.
Sorry.
Sean the Sniper Woodson versus Fernando Padilla. Fernando Padilla, 6'1", fighting at 145. Sean Woodson, 6'2", fighting at 145. 78-inch reach for Woodson, 76-inch reach for Padilla. That's important because Woodson's obviously a big freak show, weight bully, alien, weirdo, slender man, nut job who cuts a lot of weight to make it down to 145 and is like the biggest, weirdest looking guy I've ever seen at 145. So Padilla being similarly matched up to him, but also 5 years younger, tells me that this is going to be a different and interesting fight for Sean Woodson, who is used to having a lot of measurables against guys, but yet still keeping it close, right? I mean, split decision to Luis Saldana, split decision to Charles Jourdain, unanimous decision to Dennis Bazookia, who absolutely stinks. Alex Caceres, unanimous decision. Alex Caceres has 14 losses.
Split against Yusuf Zalal as well.
Well, Yusuf Zalal is a god. So
yeah, but he's also a foot taller than Yusuf Zalal.
The point is, he's keeping it close in a lot of these situations when he's got a lot of measurables against his opponent. Now, not only does he not have the measurables, he doesn't have the youth. He's 5 years older, and he's from St. Louis, where this kid's from a very boxing-oriented place called Mexico, Chihuahua, Mexico. So give me Fernando Padilla. I think that he goes in there and gives Sean Woodson what for in every sense of the word.
Luke, when you brought up Mexican boxing, that made me a little curious over here to maybe tell you that Mexican boxing, the defense usually is that really good chin and a really good forehead and fast reaction time. But Padilla's young enough, get it done. He has a similar body type. In my opinion, this is Woodson finally getting what he deserves, a guy his size. And maybe both these guys should be at 155. They both have the same attributes as a Joel Alvarez in reality, but Joel Alvarez is a man, so he doesn't fight like this, I'm going with Padilla. I'm going with Padilla by KO, brutal KO, because if you're keeping it close with all these shorties, you're going to be getting hit with shots that you're not used to whatsoever. And I know Padilla, much like Joel Alvarez, he likes to throw in the elbows and stuff. That's probably not going to be as dominant this fight. So Wouldn't be surprised if Padilla won a decision, but I really think that the shock that will come to Charles Woodson will end up being his demise because he hasn't fought somebody at this size, at this weight class, with the same killer instinct as him. So I'm going with Padilla.
I don't think I've ever bet against Sean Woodson. It served me well. I'm going to keep going with that. Really cool, like traditional boxing with that length, with a little bit of flair to it. I know he's not knocking guys out, but what do you want him to do? I mean, he's a beanpole. So he's doing the best he can. I don't think he's knocking guys out, but he's putting damage out there. I don't think people want to be fighting Sean Woodson for good reason because he's a damn good fighter. I'm going to bet on him again. I'm going to win with him again. Let's go, Sean.
Next, we got Jakar Close.
And before we go to the next fight, we got one more sponsored ad by our sponsors. Kratos Strength Equipment, Pegasus Smelling Salts here. We got one more for the boys. And you know what? That's the nostril.
Cheer me up, babe. Cheer me up, babe.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
And that's the nostril that don't work too good. So if you saw shock value from that, you know these smelling salts work just as good as some rogue nicotine. But go on, Luke.
Jakar Close plus 265 underdog against minus 340 favorite Joel Alvarez. Joel Alvarez is going to be towering over Jakar Close, who's only 5'9". Alvarez 6'3", 77-inch reach will be 7 inches greater than the 70-inch reach of Jakar Close. Jakar Close is going to have to get close to Joel Alvarez because he's going to be piecing him the fuck up, beating his fucking bitch ass. Don't ever slam Joe Solecki and say that you want to get a shot in on his unconscious head while he's knocked out. That was some bullshit. I'm still mad about that. That was a year ago. Jakar Close, you want to pull out of a fight with Jeremy Stephens because you're scared to death and he broke your fucking neck pushing you before the fight. You better hope that you fucking get out of that fight because imagine what he's going to do to you in that cage. Jeremy Stephens would have stomped the mud hole in your ass that night. You want to talk shit on Joe Solecki. You want to come on this podcast and talk shit on Joe Solecki. There's only one person who's allowed to talk shit on Joe Solecki, and that's Dan, okay?
In this episode, dude. I don't.
Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one.
Joel is sucky.
Dan's the only one who's allowed to
Joel
talk shit.
is sucky.
All right, so this one's going to be for Joe. This one's going to be for Joe Solecki. Joe Alvarez. Joe Alvarez by finish.
Joel Alvarez, first round knockout. He's too big, too long for Jakar Close. I mean, Jeremy Stephens pushed this guy in the chest, and he had, shock. Shell shocked. He was shell shocked. I know guys who've gotten hit with RPGs who weren't shell shocked. So, you get pushed in the chest. You get so much whiplash that you feel like you were on a tilt-a-whirl. Get the hell out of here. I'm going with Joel Alvarez. Shout out to Joel Embiid. Played less games than a guy who got shot in the chest this year in the NFL. So they play half the game or a fourth of the games. All right, don't even get me started. Joel Alvarez, first round TKO. I think that this is where I don't think Padilla will be able to get the elbows off. I think this is a perfect scenario for Joel to frame out and then bang, hit him with the elbow standing. Jakar Close goes down. Courtney Casey goes, no! That big ass crimson chin of hers. I love her. I love her.
Joel Alvarez brings the two things to the table that I'm starting to look for in my fighters, and that's athleticism, but you combine the athleticism with just a dog mentality, a want to hurt people in the octagon. You combine those two things, you marry those two things, you have yourself a hell of a fighter. A lot of times we have these really good athletes, but they're just in there for the style points. They're not really looking to inflict damage or really have that in their heart. You got to have a black heart in there. And I think that's what Joel Alvarez has. He has it in spades. And I think he's going to put that on display. I also like finish here because you're going to get Alvarez at minus 350 money line. Let's get that down to a minus 200. and make it a parlay pillar. I'm liking Joel Alvarez here, and I'm liking it as a perfect parlay even more.
Fuck yeah. All right. Michael Johnson versus Ottoman Azatar. Ottoman Azatar by knockout. I think Michael Johnson is very inconsistent as a fighter. He's 38 years old. He's been knocked out as recently as a year and 6 months ago by Diego Ferreira. He's got 19 losses. He's almost got as many losses as he does wins. And if you look at his last 5 fights, win, loss, win, loss, win. That means this one going to be a loss. Meanwhile, Azatar fighting for his job, coming off back-to-back knockouts, took a year and 4 months off. Only 38, which is at 155 pounds, a lot younger than 39 or 38. So 34-year-old Ottoman Azatar, he's younger. He's younger than the 38-year-old. And I think he comes in there with something to prove, wants to get back to the winning ways. He put a knockout on Timu Pakalin. He put a knockout on Kama Worthy. Knocked out his opponents outside the UFC before then. He's got 9 knockouts. I think he goes in here, puts fucking leather on Johnson's chin. It's not going to.
Luke, do you know anything about Timu though? Everything you get from Timu breaks in shipping. Okay, Timu doesn't work. Timu is bullshit. Don't order anything from Timu. Where you're looking at a guy who's knocked out Timu, Johnson has knocked out Amazon. Okay, Johnson. He's fucked up a ton of guys, dude. Don't make me go through his whole 30-fight win resume, okay?
Yeah, hey, listen. It's Ottoman Azatar by knockout. He's going to fucking clip him. He's going to finish him with elbows on the ground. It's going to be like Michael Bisping versus Dan Henderson.
Sorry, you set me up a little too good to make that Timu joke. But you guys got to realize, Azatar, ever since, they were injecting his potatoes with HGH and he couldn't get them at that fighter hotel, everything has gone awry in his career. We thought he was so good. Then he had to, pull out of a fight or some shit because he had some tainted potatoes in Abu Dhabi. And ever since then, we have only seen him get finished in the first round. Fuck that. Michael Johnson is slick enough to not get knocked out in the first round unless he is piecing him up so much that he gets laxy-daisy, which is where Michael Johnson falls into a lot of his issues. I think Michael Johnson pieces him up for 3 rounds. Might even be able to capture a finish because Azatar only has 2.5 minutes of fight in him. And if you look at his career, he really hasn't seen much of the fight after that. And if he did, he lost. So I'm going with Michael the Menace Johnson. And I don't feel comfortable with it. He's an old-ass guy. He's not going to be on a bunch of my parlays. But I've seen what I've seen about from Azatar, and I got to go with the better fighter, regardless of their age here. There's a reason that fighters above that age win at a percentile of a low rate, and it's because of guys like Michael Johnson who are going to win this fight against Azatar because he is put in a bad match. Like Azatar is put in a bad matchup. Yes, Michael Johnson has been clipped and knocked out in the past, but Azatar is gassed and Michael Johnson is durable enough to get through. He's going to be in his hometown, which always leaves me a little worrisome. You never know how that's going to, or not hometown, but where he trains. You never know where that's going to leave a guy. He's either going to be Derek Lewis or he's going to be Brian Battle rising to the occasion in North Carolina. So I'm going to go with Michael Johnson on this one, just because he's a far better fighter than Azatar, and I know that he doesn't necessarily have the physicality and the age advantage, but he is way more skilled, and I think he will be able to piece this together.
I agree with everything that you're saying, but I disagree with the outcome. I think that Michael Johnson is more skilled. I think he's going to have that on display in the fight until he doesn't. I think one of Azatar's punches are going to get through, and I think it'll be enough to knock him out, So
yeah.
I think it's as simple as that. Like he'll be the better fighter, but one punch will get through. Michael Johnson's old. Azatar hits hard, and he's going to get the knockout.
Exactly. Thank you, Dan. It's not all about what you're lying on. Yeah. All right. Daniel Marcos, Adrian Yanez. Adrian Yanez, certified.
No. Sterling versus Tokos, or did that get pulled?
Yeah, sorry. Navajo Sterling versus Tuco Tokos. I'm going to keep this one simple. I watched Navajo Sterling on the Contender Series. He is trained by Eugene Behrman, City Kickboxing. He has a troubled upbringing. I think his dad beat the shit out of him or something like that. I'm not sure. But either way, Navajo Sterling.
For Sean.
What's up?
I said, how good that do for Sean when your boy DDP said,
I'll
beat you worse than your dad did.
I think Navajo beat his dad up, though. I think he
okay.
overcame him and beat the fuck out of him. I don't
so
know.
did Steve Ersag.
If I'm remembering this incorrectly, let me know. But I think he saved his household and sent his dad packing. Either way, Navajo Sterling will win this fight. He is good. Tukos is not good. Navajo Sterling probably by knockout. But he's fighting a fellow New Zealander, so could be all good. Respect, bruv. And they could end up just sort of going back and forth and having respect for one another. So I don't know.
Yeah, Steve Ersag's fight against his dad didn't necessarily set him up good. But yeah, I love Steve Ersag. That's Astro Boy, you're the man. Sorry, that was a joke. Just like Chris Curtis. I love both of those guys a lot, and it hurts me to make fun of them. But I got to do what I got to do. I got a job here. I'm going to go with Sterling TKO. Like Luke said, the most time I'll spend on it is making fun of other people's accents. Dan, what do you think?
We got a couple of UFC newbies here, or at least very little experience. The one guy is the -500, Navajo Sterling. As far as the pick goes, I'll pick him, but that's not really enough for me to have him as a parlay pillar and take that risk with the little experience that he's got. So the pick is Sterling, but not gambling on it.
Okay.
But maybe that's the gamble I take.
All right. Let's see.
Oh, shit, Luke. I forgot that the smelling salts were actually supposed to be a main card advertisement. Sorry. So this is Kratos Strength and Equipment, Pegasus Smelling Salts. So I guess I gotta, against my better judgment, take another rip at these things.
All right. I just want to say I'm not seeing anything about his dad beating him up or him beating his dad up. I'm going to take that back. It says that he used to drink all the time, and his idea of drinking alcohol was getting blacked out and drinking until he was sick when he was 15 or 16. He soon realized he was doing that because he had no purpose in life and he was meant for something, but he wanted to push the problems of the world aside through drinking. But then he realized that, and he got into fighting, and he realized something was worth fighting for, and he toned back the drinking and put himself, yeah. So yeah.
I guess I have
Luke,
problems
you're
too.
getting your background
Navajo
is giving
Sterling-
you chill sun in mouth right now. It
Navajo
keeps
Sterling did not beat up his dad.
Okay, well, fair enough. You were getting him confused with Steve Ersag, so don't worry about it too much.
Yeah. He says he will look. He says, I don't know too much about him. I'm not really one to dissect my opponents. I will look at his stuff eventually, but I'll leave it to my coaches to break him down. I'm back in training, and the intensity of my training varies depending on how far I am out from a fight. But I credit a lot of my success in just being in the gym nonstop, whether it's very easy or very hard time on the mats. I've got a lot of time until then. Oh, man, I don't like hearing all this stuff. I would have rather heard that his dad beat him up and he beat his dad up. All right, either way. I don't like hearing, I got a lot of time before the fight. I don't need to train too hard. It's what the fuck are you saying, bitch? All right. So,
I love Pegasus salts. I love them. I love them so much.
PegasusSalts.com.
You guys rule. I fucking love you guys.
All right. So we got Marcos versus Yanez. Like I said, Adrian Yanez, he's a bitch. He fucking got beat up by leg kicks. Jonathan Martinez. Jonathan Martinez. These guys share a common opponent in Davy Grant. They both beat Davy Grant by split decision. But to be honest, Yanez, Jonathan Martinez finished him via leg kicks. Even though Jonathan Martinez almost did the same exact thing to very tough.
Davy Grant won both of those fights. On God. If it
So
weren't for him bleeding.
even though Jonathan Martinez almost finished the psycho, what's the guy's name?
I don't know.
Yeah, he
got me.
He almost finished that one guy that's really good that we like a lot by Marcus McGee by leg kicks too. I still think if you get finished by leg kicks, you're a soft ass bitch. You shouldn't be in the UFC. You should be in Bellator. So I'm gonna go with Daniel Marcos for that reason and that reason alone. He's tough. He's Peruvian. You'd never finish him with leg kicks ever in a million trillion zillion years. So I think Yanez, pretty boy, pretty face, wannabe, loser, pussy.
I love Pegasus smelling salts. I'm going with Marcos by decision. Pegasus smelling salts rule.
And I do think
that
Yanez will win, but I cannot pick a guy who lost via leg kicks, getting your leg kicked.
I think that Marcos will win this. I think that he is more dynamic striking. I think that he's going to be like sending elbows in. He's going to be sending legs in. He's going to be, hitting that baseball bat. And I mean, if Cyril Gahn can send a leg kick and get it checked and break his own foot and still win a fight, I mean, I have to believe Marcos can do the same thing. Give me Marcos by decision. He's not much of a killer. He doesn't have that killer instinct to really put the pace on to get the fight closed within the distance. I think that Marcos wins by decision, and we see a floundering Yanez in the late second and for the rest of the third, where, if he gets finished by anything, it's leg kicks, because that's the only thing Marcos doesn't have to pull the trigger on. Give me Marcos. Give me him by decision too.
I'm definitely in agreement on the decision. This is going to be a tight butthole fight. I think it's going to be super close. I think it's going to be a judge's preference here. Yanez might land some of the bigger shots. I think that Marcos.
A real Sophie's choice.
Yeah. Moody's. No, it's something different. I was going to say Moody's Point from the Amanda Show. I don't know why. That was popping up in my brain when you said Sophie's Choice. But, it's like a female name and then whatever the show. I'm going to go with, what's that?
Dawson's Creek.
Dawson's Creek. There you go.
A real Dawson's Creek for this fight.
Hmm.
Because you don't want to wait for the decision to be over.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
No, let Dan finish his thought. We interrupted him.
It's going to be Marcos by decision. Pumping that jab, baby.
Okay.
I love that, Dan.
Decision. Next we got Dustin the Hanyak Jacoby.
Dustin Jacoby.
It's Dustin Jacoby fight
Dustin
night.
Jacoby.
One more time.
Dustin Jacoby. Dustin Jacob. Dustin Jacoby.
Okay, Dustin Jacoby versus Dustin Jacoby versus Victor Petrino. Victor Petrino coming off getting submitted by Anthony Smith, and not 10 years ago, 7 months ago. Anthony Smith, lovely guy. Nothing but respect for him. You lying son of a bitch, Luke. You hate him. I do hate him. All right, Anthony Smith sucks, stinks like shit to the high heavens. Face for radio, tattoos like the Azov battalion. He's tatted up and bald like members of the Azov battalion in the Ukraine. Look it up when you look into it.
Bangkok ready.
No, sorry, wrong one.
When you look into it,
like what you see. You won't like what you see when you look into it. I'm going with I in good conscience, I can't pick Vitor Petrino after what he did, right? I can't. Who can? Especially at minus 280. Who can? Who can do that? Who can do something like that? So I'm going with Dustin Jacoby here. It won't be a fight I have in a ton of parlays. It won't be a fight that I bet a lot, but I personally just will not auto bet Victor Petrino for no other reason than he's 9 years younger, for no other reason than he is, a better prospect on paper. I mean, who has he beaten? He beat
these are Nazis.
He beat Pleasure Man. He beat Marcin Prachnio. He beat Modestus Bukauskas, who got bounced out of the UFC and had to fight back. He beat Tyson Pedro, who no longer fights in UFC, and then he loses to Anthony Smith. We've calibrated Vitor Petrino. He sucks ass. Meanwhile, Dustin Jacoby lost a split decision to Cleo Roundtree, who fought for the title. Lost a decision to Azmat Mirzakhanov, who is undefeated at the time. He knocked out Kennedy Nchukwi, who's looked like a god in his last fight last weekend. He lost a decision to Alonzo Menefield. He got knocked out by Dominic Reyes, who knocked out the guy who beat Vitor Petrino. So, really, this is a pick'em fight, but if you're giving me plus 225 on Jacoby, I'm going to take Jacoby. I think if he keeps the fight standing, he's got the better kickboxing. Vitor Petrino probably will end up taking him down and submitting him. So if you make me make a bet, I'll say Vitor Petrino by submission. But if you're asking me what the pick for the podcast will be, I'll say Dustin Jacoby by decision.
Yeah, I'm going to take Vitor Petrino by finish. Dustin Jacoby has shown signs of being chinny. Yes, Anthony Smith realized a hole in his game, which he very well could with Alex Pereira, which is why I'm still calling for that fight. So, I think Vitor Petrino comes out here. He's big, stocky, strong. We've seen this story numerous times where Dustin Jacoby has had fights where he's been out striking a guy and get clipped twice in the fight, round 2 and round 3, and end up losing. So I believe that Vitor Petrino has that clipping power. I don't think Dustin Jacoby does. I think that he has more of a pitter-patter, get-at-her type of attitude. So I'm going with Vitor Petrino. He's going for the kill shots. And, if he gets finished by a guillotine by Dustin Jacoby, I'll suck your dick.
I'm gonna triple P certify this bad boy. Go with Vitor Petrino. I think the line is a little weird. Last I checked, he's like minus 260. Kind of strange. He's that much of a favorite coming off of a pretty devastating loss to Anthony Smith. At the same time, I think that Jacoby is pretty over the hill at this point. He's had a ton of UFC experience. Doesn't particularly hit too hard, so we don't have to worry about Petrino just getting knocked out of nowhere. So Jacoby's going to have to win over the course of 15 minutes. I think Petrino only has to win a couple of moments, kind of like the Azaitar Johnson fight. I think he'll find those moments. I don't know if he'll get the finish per se, because Jacoby's pretty tough, but I think it'll be enough to get him the victory either way. So taking Petrino here. I don't know how much I'm going to be, investing in it, but that is the pick. It's more of a pick for me than some of the lady fights or anything like that.
I'll take Vitor Petrino by submission. I'll triple certify him. I did say I was picking Jacoby, but I'll bite my tongue and I'll take Vitor Petrino by submission. All right, next we got Manel Kape versus Bruno Silva. This is gonna surprise a lot of people here with my pick. I really love Manel Kape a lot. But if you look at the fights that he's lost in the UFC, right? It's against guys like Pantoja. It's against guys like Bakayev. He even lost to Mateus Nicolau. And in each of these fights, there's one common theme, and that's that the opponent has the ability to take the fight to the ground and have success there. He kind of freezes up, and he's extremely low volume in situations like that. I kind of feel like Bruno Silva can kind of just create more urgency, more volume, and more takedown threat / cage control opportunity to get the win. He knocked out JP Buys. He knocked out Victor Rodriguez. He submitted Tyson Nam, and he knocked out Cody Durden. Granted, the Cody Durden one was a little bit of an opportunistic transitional kind of finish in a fight where he was getting dominated, but I don't know. I mean, he's training at Fight Ready. I love Manel Kape, but he's got 7 losses for a reason. He sometimes comes out and just kind of phones it in a 3-round fight. I think he can let minutes escape him. And if he doesn't knock out Bruno Silva, I think he ends up losing a decision or possibly gets grounded or gets caught. I don't know, but I'm taking Bruno Silva here. I like the odds, and I just feel like I'd be going with my heart and what I want to happen with Manel Kape based on, Manel Kape's got a bad attitude. He's got a very bad attitude. I'm going with Bruno Silva.
Yeah, I I might eat my words on this, but I'm going to go with Cop. I think he has to feel a little bit embarrassed coming off the performance against Mikhaev. I mean, Mikhaev probably got more of the shit end of the stick from the UFC brass, but I'm sure Cop got a talking to from Dana as well. So I expect
real quick, I agree with you entirely, and that is the one reason I was going to lean Cop, because I was thinking what I don't like about him is the volume, but what I can guarantee is that Hunter Campbell's nerdy ass got in his fucking ear and was like, that was piss poor, you need to fucking fight harder. And I just don't know if you can teach an old dog new tricks. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying, but I think that it might have the ability to light a fire under his ass. And it's not like he's phoned in every single fight he's been in. He's been a successful UFC fighter. He's been kicking ass for the most part. He's had some duds here and there, but I think Bruno Silva will bring out the best of him. He is a formidable fighter. I don't know if I trust his ground game or think that it's so exceptional to the level of a Mikhaev or some of the other guys that Cop has struggled with in the past. And especially like Silva he's coming off a couple knockouts here. I think 3 of his last 4 wins are by knockout, so he might be falling in love with his hands, and I think he can get it done that way, which I think for him would be a mistake because Cop is
fool's errand.
Yeah, that's what I'm banking on. Again, kind of similar to the last fight. I'm not crazy about this fight, especially with Cop's volatility, but that's the pick nonetheless.
I'm switching. Make up Manel Cop by knockout. I forgot this fight's in Florida. It's going to bring out the wild boy in him. He's going to come out here in style and smack Bruno Silva up. Manel Cop by knockout.
I'm going to go with Manel Cop by decision, probably less impressive and closer than it ought to be. I think that he just comes out there and lands the more thudding, damaging strikes. I don't think he gets knocked out by, Bruno Silva. Not that I think too highly of Bruno Silva, but wasn't he in like a number 1 contender fight, and then the guy pulled out, and that's why he had to fight somebody recently? I think Bruno was calling for it, but at the same time, Manel Cop, with his mouth, has gotten way bigger checks than his ass can cash. This is no 125-pounder that he was fighting in Ryzen. Uncle Creepy, Ian McCall. So I think Bruno Silva's I think Bruno Silva's a good fighter, not a great fighter. And I kind of think the same thing about Manel Cop. I think he has phenomenal athleticism, but he doesn't necessarily have the ability to put it all together, where Bruno Silva's a lot more well-rounded. I'm going with Manel Cop by decision, probably the least impressive decision he's won, probably closer than it should be, because that's how he's won all of his fights in recent memory. So I'm gonna lean Manel Cop by decision on this one.
Trophy certified Manel Cop. Next, we got Cub Swanson versus Billy Quarantillo. At the end of the day, Billy Quarantillo 8 months ago got choked out by Yusuf Zalal off of a strike that sent him to his ass. At the end of the day, you could have put the Incredible Hulk in there against Yusuf Zalal. He was not going to be denied. He got bounced from the UFC on a very kind of unceremonious exit. He had a lot of he lost on a draw.
Split decision losses. He had 2 split decisions, and one against Zalgas Zumagulov and one against Charles Woodson, and I think he had a draw and then got cut.
Yeah, a draw against, I think, Twister guy, Damon Blackshear. So at the end of the day, he came back with like 4 straight finishes across like 2 different kinds of sports. He fought like boxing, he fought kickboxing, he fought MMA, finishes all around. Yusuf Zalal was not going to be denied. He came in and finished Billy Quarantillo like I knew he would. And meanwhile, Andre Touchy-Feely split decision win against Cub in his last fight. Before that, he beat Hakeem Dawado. Only has fought 3 times in 2 years, and one of them was getting leg kick KO'd by Jonathan Martinez. You just heard what I said about Yanez and those leg kick KOs. So I'm going with Billy Quarantillo to beat the fuck out of Cub Swanson. Must-win situation for Billy Boy. 36 years old, but not 41, taller, fighting out of Tampa, Florida. The fight's in Tampa, Florida. Billy Q, hometown boy. This is going to be a slugfest. This is going to be reminiscent of Daniel Pineda versus Darren Elkins. Both guys might retire after this. Who knows? But Billy Quarantillo is going to fuck Cub Swanson up, I think.
I agree. I see Billy Q as being a lot bigger, younger, could put together a lot more volume, even at this age. Billy Q is certainly going to be slowing down if he hasn't already, but I think there's still enough in the tank that it's a league or two above what Cub Swanson is going to be putting out at 41. This is one of my more confident picks of the night. Cub Swanson, what can happen here? Cub Swanson knocks out Billy Q? No. Is he going to take him down? No, I don't think he's going to win over the course of 15 minutes. So I just don't see how Billy Q loses here, even at this, diminished version of himself. Again, it's just he's a league or two above Cub Swanson at this point. Thank you for your service, Cub. You're great, but you're 41.
You can't bring those glasses into the cage with you, Cub. Cub's got bad eyes. He's not going to be able to see anything.
Ooh.
That doesn't have anything to do with anything. Charles Oliveira was a UFC champion, and he can't see 2 feet in front of him. So, but I will say that I'm agreeing with you on Billy Q, Triple P certified Billy Q. Cub Swanson was one of my favorite fighters. When he first started in the WEC, loved him, thought he was going to beat Jose Aldo in that fight, and he got finished in fucking 10 seconds. So, you know what I mean? I've been demoralized by, guys like Max Holloway haven't necessarily been demoralized by their performance, right? Every time he lost before Ilia Topuria was very, very close decision that I was still like Max Holloway won. Cub Swanson, I've been on the opposite end of that stick. Every time he loses, I know for sure he lost because he's looking up at the lights. And I don't necessarily think Billy Q has the capability to put Cub Swanson out. I'm going to go Billy Q. Billy Q by decision. There's a 3-rounder. I think Cub Swanson will be durable enough to withstand the pressure of Billy Q, the length of Billy Q, and might even have some moments. And people are going to be sitting here either like Cub Swanson's completely washed or Cub Swanson has some more life in him. There's not going to be any more in between. There's going to be no in between. It's either going to be like Cub Swanson's a really good gatekeeper for this division, such as Neil Magny, or Cub Swanson's completely washed and needs to retire. And I'm going with the former on this one. I'm going to go with Cub Swanson still has a little bit more life in him. He can still be the gatekeeper for this division, and we'll keep that Neil Magny spot as the guy who makes sure nobody unworthy comes into the top 5 or 10.
All right, that brings us to the main event of the evening: Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley. 10-4 in the UFC. Joaquin Buckley taking on Colby Covington, who you might be surprised is 12-4 in the UFC. So 2 more UFC fights for Colby Covington. Colby Covington, a lot of people are kind of
and Joaquin Buckley's only been in the UFC since COVID, which is 2-3 years ago.
It's an important fact to note. Colby Covington, not the most active guy in the UFC ever since those wars he went through with Kamaru Usman. He has not been as active. Colby Covington, has fought in the UFC for a while, spent most of his career here. But, what do we say, right? I mean, the fight against Leon Edwards, Colby says he broke his foot in the first round. But at the end of the day, he didn't seem to really try to wrestle in that fight. Meanwhile, Bilal Muhammad goes in there and wrestle fucks Leon to death over 5 rounds, gets the win. Colby, we haven't really seen him wrestle since he fought Tyron Woodley 4 years ago, right? Every other fight, even against like George Masvidal, he wasn't really able to like dominate him with wrestling, like in a Khabib-like fashion, in like a fucking, Moicano style fashion. So I don't know, man. When your two best wins are George Masvidal and Tyron Woodley, and you have to go back to, the
Washed up Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, even like Rafael Dos Anjos, it's like there's no names. Max Griffin, Michael Chiesa just beat the fuck out of him. Brian Barberina, not in the UFC anymore. Dong Young Kim, not in the UFC anymore. Damian Maia, retired. Dos Anjos just fucking couldn't even last 10 seconds with Jeff Neal. Robbie Lawler, not in the UFC anymore. Usman, Woodley, he didn't beat Usman. Woodley got knocked out by Jake Paul. Masvidal got knocked out by Jake Paul. Joaquin Buckley. It's like I hate to say this. I did watch Stat Diggers, and Brady from Stat Diggers was saying that he rewatched Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Joaquin Buckley. That fight was from 2022, February 19th. Split decision win for Joaquin Buckley. But he said in round 3, Al Hassan was ragdolling him, like taking him to the ground at will. Now, what I want to point out about that fight is, I believe
Abdul Al-Razak Al-Hassan can also lift probably 300 more pounds than Colby Covington. like that's pure athleticism. And yes, Colby Covington has the technique advantage, but I'm going with Buckley on this one. You can keep making your decision. There's a surging, young, powerful stud. The last few wins from Colby Covington, where he was really able to put the pressure on guys, were RDA and Robbie Lawler, two guys who are on the tail end of their career. And since then, and since that Kamaru Usman fight, we haven't seen the same Colby Covington in either of those. The first Kamaru Usman fight, we saw the same Colby Covington. And he was probably on his way to winning a decision to get the title that night if, Mark Not So Gooder didn't stop it. But in the second fight, we didn't necessarily see the same Colby Covington. Kamaru Usman won that fight fair and square. Colby Covington takes more and more time off in between each one of these fights. Where I'm going here, and I know you're flip-flopping back and forth. You're Mr. Sleepy over here.
No, I'm not.
You're on the fence. You're on the fence. You don't know where you're going. Well, I'll tell you where I'm going. I'm going with Joaquin Buckley, surging young prospect who, in his last fight and his fight before that, showed some wrestling we hadn't even seen before. So this guy is getting better and better with every fight. If you listen to his interview with DJ Demetrius Johnson, one of the greatest to ever do it, he has gone through the trials and tribulations that he has had to go through during his career. When he started, he went on a crazy surge, went to Bellator. He lost like one fight in Bellator, got kicked out. He was like, I thought since I won more fights than I lost, I'd be allowed to stick around in like a, top organization in the world with Bellator, but they cut me. Then after that, I had nothing. I had to go back to my day job, and I lost my gym and this and that. Comes back, surges all the way back. And he told DJ, the reason I went to 185 was because I couldn't find a fight at 170. Everybody in my weight class knew I was the best in the area and didn't want to fight me because that wasn't how they're getting on the Contender Series. That's not how they're getting on Dana White's looking for a fight. Joaquin Buckley is an absolute stud. He is going to go out there and make mince meat of Colby Covington. And Colby Covington better not come out there with that Rafael Cadero boxing and think that he's going to get the fight done. He will not. He will only be where Luke said, on a fool's errand, getting fool's gold, which will end with him on his back. And I think he's way more powerful. And Luke, you wrestled. You know that there's sometimes guys on your weight class, on your bracket, that are just cutting more weight than you, stronger than you, more physically gifted than you. And if you're a senior going against a fucking 16-year-old kid who's full of piss and vinegar and you came off of a night of drinking in Miami, you're going to get your ass pinned in the next match. And that's a real fact. Colby Covington hasn't been living the lifestyle I think Joaquin Buckley has. I think Joaquin Buckley has been more disciplined. He hasn't been going to Trump rallies, hanging out with Aiden Ross, hanging out with any of the Nelk boys. And Joaquin Buckley is going to get this fight done by raw power, sex appeal, and looking like Tyler, the Creator, more and more every day.
Luke, you want to finish your take? I feel like Alex kind of jumped
in.
I
cut his ass off because he doesn't know what he's talking about. And listen, I'll get to you when I'm ready for you. Dan, you go for your pick. He can finish after you, my good sir. Because I run this ship. You see who's the man in the middle. You see who's the man in the middle. And here's why, because I'm handsome, sexy, and beautiful.
There I am. I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I think he really got all four corners here. I'm also going to go with Buckley. I think that Covington a little bit washed. I think that's based on the fact, like, how many times has this guy taken fights? By the way, Alex, I got to hop in here. COVID was 5 years ago now. I don't know if you recognize that. COVID was March of 2020 when it started. It's about to be 2025. You said 2 years ago. Like, COVID was 2 years ago? Anyway, yeah, Buckley. I remember that fight with Abdul Razak Al Hassan. It's like, yeah, he was getting taken down in like the last 2.5 minutes of a absolute war, where he, I don't think Covington's gonna bring that, huh?
Where he won, right? At the end of the
I'm not sure. It was very close. It almost doesn't even matter if he won or lost. It was that close. But Covington's not going to be able to bring that aggression towards Buckley, where, like, I don't think Buckley's going to respect the power of Covington coming at him. I think he's just going to stay in the pocket, let him walk him down with that pressure, and be like, all right, like, you're coming at me. Let's just go right here. I'm going to be throwing bombs at you. So let's see how much you want to walk forward with that pressure. I also don't think, like, at this age, at this stage in the career of Covington, I don't think he wants to wrestle. These old guys, the Weidman was a Division I like champion wrestler. You see any wrestling on Saturday night? He could not even fathom getting up from Eric Anders. I don't think he ever wrestled a day in his life. And Covington's reaching that point of his career. Maybe he's not Weidman-esque, but he's getting damn close, at least to the extent that he doesn't want to be embarrassed trying for takedowns, getting stuffed, and then getting his face smashed in. So I think he's going to try to make this a stand-up fight, but over the course of 25 minutes, Buckley's going to find the button at one point or another. So I like Buckley here. I don't know. Maybe we'll see a resurgence of Colby Covington, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I think Buckley knocks Colby Covington out cold.
Cold cocked.
All right, let's take everybody through the picks top to bottom and get the fuck out of here for the night. Thank you guys. Bit of a weird episode, but I had to get a lot off my chest, and we'll move forward into the new year with a lot more. This is the last stand for 2024, at least, to get back on the
first
board.
episode on the smelling salts for me, and don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't do them too much. It's not risk free.
Oh no, it's not. In fact, they actually have a warning on the back of this. They say, by using this product, you release the manufacturer and its partners from any and all liability pertaining to improper use of the product. Keep away from children. Do not use if allergic or pregnant. Avoid contact with the eyes and mouth. And I've been touching my eyes and mouth all night, and I don't know if I have allergy to this because it's the first time I've used it. God damn it.
I'm almost sure you're going to have harmful side effects occur with you. You are a bit of a hypochondriac and also a pussy. So I'm sure that I get a text tomorrow. I think those smelling salts really mess with me. I bet they will. Okay, so for me, I'm going with JB, Joaquin Buckley, BQ, Billy Quarantillo, Manel Kopp, I was swayed. Vitor Petrino, I was swayed. Daniel Marcos, Navajo Sterling, Ataman Azatar, Joel Alvarez, lock of the night. Fernando Padilla, Felipe Lima, Miranda Maverick, Ramon Tavares, and Piera La Flera Rodriguez.
So, quick question. You know your picks before the show starts. So why do you type them in when you're giving them out to us at the end of the episode? I know you could have some deviation, but wouldn't it just be like a little easier to just switch those two out between while you're doing your breakdown? Like you didn't just type it. Oh, I guess the Excel. Okay. I get it now. Sorry.
Spreadsheet.
I'm putting him on the spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet.
So the spreadsheet, other people have access to. So you
laptop.
want them to actually watch the episode. I got you, big boy. Okay, me, Joaquin Buckley, TKO, Billy Q decision, Cop decision. No cop on that one. Vitor Petrino, Marcos decision, Sterling TKO, and I am Navajo joking about that one. I'm Navajo joking about that one. The only way he loses that one if he's with his brother Aljo Sterling and he gets robbed. I'm kidding. That was just wordplay, guys. Johnson decision. Alvarez first round knockout. Padilla knockout. John's decision. Maverick sub. Tavares decision. Knutson by cuteness. Dan, what is your final stand on this one?
My final say is this: Joaquin Buckley, Billy Quarantillo, Manel Cop, Vitor Petrino, Daniel Marcos, Navajo Sterling, Atman Azatar, Joel Alvarez, Sean Woodson, Felipe Lima, Miranda Maverick, Ramon Tavares, and Josephine Knutson.
A lot of basically me, Alex, and Dan have the last from Navajo Sterling all the way on up. Same picks. So Triple B certify Joaquin Buckley, Billy Quarantillo, Manel Cape, Vitor Petrino, Daniel Marcos, Navajo Sterling. Those fights are 6 in a row from the main card up, all Triple B certified. Then we got Joel Alvarez, Triple B certified. We got Miranda Maverick, Triple B certified, and Ramon Tavares, Triple B certified. So of 13 fights, we got 9 Triple B certified picks. We went 6 out of 7 last week, with the only one that was Triple B certified that we got wrong was Themba Garimbo. But we got Chase Hooper, Michael Chiesa, Dominic Reyes, Bryce Mitchell, Shavkat Rachmanov, and Alexander Pantoja. Those were the 6 out of 7 correct we got last week. So let's go 9 for 9 this week. And it's funny because the ones that we disagree on, Dan and I are both going with Ataman Azatar. Dan's on an island by himself with Sean Woodson.
Dan and I are with Knutson.
Dan and Alex are with Knutson. And Dan and I are with Felipe Lima. So those are kind of the differentiating areas there. But I mean,
and if you want to go with the two guys who put together are minus, 4 times the amount that we started with on this show, go ahead and go with them when I'm on an island by myself. These guys are mental. They don't know anything.
You're picking Michael
what's
Johnson.
Interesting is, except for Brian Battle, except for Aljamain Sterling, Themba Garimbo, Nate Landwehr. I guess it's more than I thought, but
except for more than half of the Triple B picks last week.
No, I'm saying last week you went like 10 out of 14.
Oh, me? Yeah, I did well last week. I did well.
Trying to give you props. You're shitting on him.
I thought he was talking about Triple P picks at first, but yeah, I did pretty well last week. So all signs point to the other boys. Go to them. Lightning doesn't strike twice, as Conor McGregor once said.
He's injected his asshole.
Unless we're talking
in his asshole.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining the show. UFC picks, perfect parlays.
Unless we're talking about the CEO of United Health, then Lightning strikes 3 times in a row. Bang, bang, bang.
Join the Patreon. We'll see you guys over there. We'll see you in the Discord. We love you. Thanks so much, and take care. Godspeed, and enjoy the last UFC card of the year. Hug your loved ones, and thanks for being here as always. Give us a like, give us a comment, let us know what you think.
God damn it, dude. How much are these fucking smelling salt people paying us? I can't take another hit to the nose. This is killing me.
You have to hit the smelling salts, Alex. They're paying good money, and I promised them 3 hits of the smelling salts each episode that you would do.
Fine.
All right. I'll see you guys later.